Well, the clock has struck halfway 7 o'clock, and we do continue here on with Wednesday's edition of Morning at NTV. I am Priscilla Regina Naloga. Our Kickstarter is about the main day of this particular week. That is Women's Day. That is around the corner, and so we want to look into the existing gender biases creeping women's empowerment, and of course reflection on the opportunities for women empowerment in an era such as a technical and technological-led era. And so International Women's Day has its origins in the struggle by women for social change and to be able to participate on equal terms with men in social, political, as well as economic processes. Now, back in 1975, the United Nations declared an International Women's Day and recognized 8th March as the day upon which all member states should recognize as well as honor women. So it's not that we want you guys to, honor us. No. Yeah, the UN body, an international body, said so. So we must only follow suit as member states. Anyway, the International Women's Day was first celebrated here in Uganda on 8th March back in 1984 at State House in Entebbe. And since then, this remarkable day has been commemorated and celebrated every single year to unearth the existing factors still challenging women to especially participate in economic growth. I think there's been great advocacy for political participation, but now the shift is towards economic participation. I am joined by wonderful ladies who I believe will elude us with this discussion in depth. Honorable Linda Auma, the Vice Chairperson, the National Women's Council, is amidst us, as well as Emily Akulu, the Deputy Executive Secretary with the National Women's Council. And so good morning to you ladies, and you're most welcome.
Thank you so much.
And so,
good morning.
I'll allow each one of you to introduce yourselves in further capacities. I'll start with you, Honorable.
Yeah, thank you so much, NTV, and especially her viewers this morning. And I send my regards to all the women of Uganda as we prepare for our Women's Day celebration. I am Honorable Auma Linda Agnes. I represent the women of Lira district in the Parliament of Uganda. And I'm also the National Vice Chairperson for the Women Council. In Parliament, I'm also the publicity for the Uganda Women Parliamentary Association. And in the parliamentary duties, I'm the Deputy Chair for Committee on Agriculture.
All right.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to have you. Emily?
Thank you very much. Good morning, listeners. My name is Emily Akulu. I work for the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development as Deputy Executive Secretary of the National Women's Council. I'm also I'm actually also the Women Council Chairperson of Alebtong District. Being that there are no elections yet, somebody is acting in my place, but not yet replaced. I also sit on the Research Ethics Committee of Lira University in the capacity of Vice Chairperson, and most of all, I'm a Mandela Washington Fellowship, something that I'm so proud of.
Very.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then you're definitely
I'm a Mandela Washington Fellow. Sorry.
Yes. Okay. So let me start by asking, Honorable, why the keen interest in women? Yes, you are on the affirmative action.
Yeah.
And then with your introduction, you seem to be tilted towards women-related affairs. What caused you to turn your attention to women-related affairs?
Yeah, first of all, in fact, I have to thank you for that question. Women agenda has been my passion, for I rose up as a young woman from a poor background, struggling to reach where I am today. That one gave me much morale to be in all women platforms, advocating for the women's emancipation and rights, supporting girl children to attain their full potential. And I felt that I should be in all these platforms to advocate for that voiceless girl, voiceless woman at the grassroots there. So that, because I believe everyone has a potential, but there are others that are stuck. They don't know where to start it. They have their dreams. They don't know how to achieve it. So we, the women that have reached somewhere, we shouldn't be proud of where we are and try to demoralize, bow down, but our role is to encourage those other women to come on board. So that's why I'm so much into women-related issues, because you know, women are vulnerable, traditionally, and in all forms. We were raised, and worst in African culture, we were raised to be down. We were not supposed to even raise our head high. So how can we break that barrier? We have to do it by advocacy, creating awareness, and speaking for that other one, that woman there, who feels so demoralized, who feel that she's just a woman. And I feel so bad. Even some of the enlightened women, when things are tough, they say, I'm just a woman. No, there's no woman who is just. Justice. So, in fact, we women, we shouldn't even mention that word in our mouth. Just a woman. That one makes us to be so low. So this is what we have to fight for as women. Thank you.
All right. Emily, how significant is Women's Day internationally, but also for us here in Uganda, to use it as a platform of advocacy for, you know, some of the issues that Honorable has mentioned?
The Women's Day is a very significant day in the life of a woman and girl child. It's a day that every family gets to know that today is Mommy's Day.
Right.
That today, this is the day of my sisters. It's women from all levels, female generally. So International Women's Day is a day that honors women. It's a day that honors the work and input of other women. When we say work of other women or the achievement of other women, we forget the woman that's doing something very small at the market there, woman that's sweeping compounds in some places. They're changing lives. That other woman that's able to counsel a girl who has conceived and is in trouble with family and that kind of violence is a woman that has achieved. So in Uganda, Women's Day is a widely celebrated day. It's also a day that's meant to receive messages from especially the central government on plans, on what the government plans to do in line with women, you know, in line with things to benefit women. So it's also a day that women use to advocate for more woman-friendly service provision, laws, and you know, and all that.
Okay. All right. Based on this year's theme, which is basically accelerating gender equality through economic empowerment, Honorable, you have talked about research, and it begs me to ask this question: what is there research that has informed this for us here in Uganda, women's active participation in economic development, and then also what, from your experience and perspective and your journey to the, you know, one of the highest leadership positions currently, what have you realized as the roadblocks and challenges to women actively participating in economics?
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, automatically there's a research that is made by government, especially on women participation in economic development. And as we are aware, currently women are almost 51.2%. And most of the economic activity is being spearheaded by women. Another thing is that the women that have broken the barriers to engage in economic enterprises and other things, they've been excelling. So that clearly states that the women can make it better. So there are other women that have also seen the light, because even if you go to the deep villages, you'll get at least a woman not waking up to just sit, to move around, but at least that woman would be engaging in some economic activity. Now, this theme is very critical for reasons that the population is increasing. And from the research angle, most of the families that have progressed well, it was involving participation of women. And that's why we are saying in today's theme, or this celebration theme, that count a woman in accelerating the gender equality and economic empowerment. Because when you count us in as women, the sky is the limit. And men that have been involving their women in their various enterprises and economic struggle, they tend to succeed. I want to give an example. My colleague, a member of parliament who lost in the 10th parliament, he told me that he was completely broke after the election. But when he was in parliament, he empowered the wife. So it reached a time where he couldn't support the family, but the wife came in. So he was advising fellow colleagues to empower their women when they're in position to get something. That is something very nice. It's something that people should take it up. When you give a woman what she deserves, there's no doubt. And we are trusted people. On the other hand, women's issues, especially interventions, are many. This government have done a lot, especially on gender equality, empowerment, by various programs. We have a WEP, we have YLP that was tackling the young generations, we have a Myoga that was targeting women in the ministry, we have the Joakali that have now transitioned to Sente, we have now GROW project that is specifically, it's almost $270 million funded by World Bank. We have skilling centers that was initiated by the president to empower the women and young people. So with all this and other legal frameworks, policy, regulations, laws that we have, like the marriage bill, the succession bill, the gender-based violence regulations and policies, Employment Act, these were all targeting. Even the Constitution recognizes women. But despite all these attempts, there are still issues. And we cannot celebrate that we have already reached. That's why we are talking about these barriers. Some of these barriers, even the women themselves, they do not know, but they feel that there's a problem in it. Like, for instance, a woman is an improved creation. We have very many systems. On healthcare, it's the woman that gave birth, meaning that the mortality rate should be monitored in order, because even if I'm working, I have a function as a woman to do. We have the stereotypes, like community stereotypes on girls. They're supposed to be trained to be nurtured. When you are a vocal lady, they feel that you're indisciplined. Even sometimes the men get scared of you. When you're also empowered, like the women that have reached their peak in their career, even they tend not to even settle. The men get scared of them. These stereotypes against women are other things that we have to fight on. And even you in the media, you know, the society have that thing in the media, wrong perception. The women are not supposed to expose themselves in speaking. So this is another battle also. You'll find people associating you with the negativities only. In fact, there are a lot, like educational disparity. When you find very, in fact, below average, let me say below average, they don't, the below average are the one that nowadays value education for girl child. But majority still feels that girl children are supposed to be primary teachers, nurses, those low-level professions.
Okay,
yeah.
But you're raising some very serious points, and as we're talking about economic empowerment here, I believe that the UN, based on certain factors, Emily, to be able to then form the theme for this year in such a world where you would think that women have been participating, indirectly in economics. They'll be in the farms, they'll try to fend for their children, to be able to take them to schools, and also provide for them all the other basic human rights that they need to have, among other things. And in this era where you do have technology, however, you're seeing a little bit of an imbalance there. You do have 37% of women accessing internet, for example, more than men. And yet today, thanks to COVID-19, the world has tilted towards technological advances. And that's on a global level. How is this being perceived on a local level, localizing this conversation for Uganda?
The UN is right. So much has been done, and so much advocacy has been done in line with women empowerment and gender equity and equality. You find that even at the household level, the poverty level among women is still high. Women form 50% of the poorest members of our country. And even in terms of employment, which should be something that brings food on the table for women, you still find that women only form a smaller percentage of the labor force. And that makes it challenging. Actually, in terms of unemployment, women make 8.9% of the unemployed labor force as compared to men. And also only 48% of women are employed in comparison with the statistics of 52% men. And it's made worse in terms of business ownership, which I think this team is now looking at women on only 44% of businesses against men who own about 56%. And so much more that portrays the fact that women still need more empowerment in terms of economic empowerment through different dimensions. When you mention technology and when you mention COVID-19, there are biases that make women lag behind, especially in terms of technology. Even when you go to a household today with an empowered mother like me, and they have a son and a daughter, let's say the son is in senior 5 and the daughter is in senior 4, or otherwise, you'll find a boy with a phone and able to access. In most cases, you'll find a girl peeping. So you you wonder why this is done. Somehow, if somebody has to choose between a boy and a girl who should own a phone, the boy will have it. And also, technology has been a male-dominant field, really, and women are still viewing it at an angle. Even when a child goes to apply for a course at university, if they all did courses that would take them for computer studies, for example, or would take them for architecture, if there is a choice, and if the school fees is high, on the other side, the girl will choose to go for something else. Shying away, not because she can't manage, but because she thinks her brother
against her own self.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's still a challenge, and it's something that we really need to continue working on. And this economic empowerment theme is really meant to encourage also the woman and to tell them that you can make it, that you can, You can also do it like any other woman out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about affirmative action. Something that Honorable Oma, you have actually enlightened on political positions, inclusivity of women here in politics and these positions, and also the different programs that you have mentioned. They sound many to the ear, but are they reaching the last person? It's a big question that we need to answer. I would like you to answer to that.
Yeah.
Because we see the suits, the courts, receiving the World Bank money, it's grow, it's what, it's this. But wananchi woman, is it reaching them?
Exactly. Thank you so much. You've brought in a very serious question. I could say it's serious because this is the gist of the matter. Despite the emancipation, despite all these legal frameworks, despite all the interventions by government, are the women feeling it? That's the question. And that's why I stated earlier that it's not yet time for us to jubilate, because we feel, as the leaders, we feel that we have not yet reached the full potential. Let me start by the issue of emancipation. The Constitution, as enabled us women to be on board. One of the beneficiaries, that's why I'm here as a representative of the women. And that one, I'm benefiting from the affirmative action. Even this is up to down at the local government level. But since we are a third, you'll find that, like in a local government level, the parishes has its male representation, but the women are combined, meaning that in decision making, when it's time for really making decision, deciding on what position, the women tends to lag behind due to numbers.
When you say that, I was actually disturbed, for example, politically, with the current row between, the NUP and one of their leaders. No woman has come out to speak up. And I'm asking myself, why? This is a very good opportunity for women to put a voice and opinion to what's going on.
Yeah.
That's the challenge of women still having that feeling of just being a woman. They have not involved in the men's issue. Yet, those issues can affect the women in service delivery. It can even bring chaos that will affect the woman as a weaker vessel. So, women shouldn't keep quiet. But despite this, let me go back to the main issue. Despite all these affirmative actions, the women are still not feeling it, on reasons that, basing on decisions, they tend to overpower us. Though they have also given us free liberty to go in directly, like the current MP or the Minister for Gender. She's on direct election. She faces the men. But we are not many. In the parliament, we are even less than 20%. Now, even there, they feel that those women who go for such position are indisciplined. That is not for them.
The mindset.
So we have a lot to still advocate for. Despite this, we have to make these laws and these legal frameworks to be felt in reality. It's just there, but it's not fully felt by the local woman. Even in the LC ones, government have put it's automatic that the chairperson of the Women Council is the Secretary for Women Affairs. But there are very many decisions at those levels that the women are not involved. So this vice, even in Parliament, sometimes we are overpowered. Right now we have 529 MPs. But you imagine, we are less than 180 in Parliament. So we need to do a lot to really try to advocate to our male counterparts to push us. because if we are to raise quorum, we will fail as women alone. So why am I bringing this? Do we need to work alone as women? I would say no. We need men.
Work in collaboration.
We need men around us to support us in this. And men outside there, don't leave the women alone. Don't make these provisions in the legal frameworks feel that we are now in position to move on our own. We need the backup from the men. Even in training, this empowerment, the women coming up to be empowered economically, we need even to train men. That means that when we're talking about a girl child, we shouldn't leave a boy child. Because when we empower a girl child, she'll be a superwoman, but we will marry her. That boy child we have abandoned. So the woman will go back to the same pain that the other rural woman is going through. And I want to assure you, I recently interacted in through various meetings with some corporate women. The corporate women are dying silently because of their status in the community. They are going through a lot. And if you see even there's increase of mental health, you'll even wonder someone who is okay financially, educationally, but committing suicide. So these are things that we need to bring everyone on board.
All right. Now, Emily, as we're closing this conversation, we're talking about women empowerment as far as economics is concerned. Now, of course, there's the flip side of empowering women economically. How about the flip side of the already economically empowered woman? How do they get to help in this situation and advocate for the theme this year?
First of all, women should take up the mantle of leadership seriously. You cannot advocate when you don't have partners that are pushing it for you, especially in the policy department. In Parliament, we have only 34% of women in leadership in Parliament, and also at local government level, we have only 45%, and this makes it always an imbalance when it comes to decision making at the policy level, like Linda mentioned. Women who are empowered should not feel that they have arrived, because today you're up there, tomorrow you'll be somewhere else. So do things that make you feel comfortable coming down the ladder, you know. I think COVID-19 showed everybody that today you might be that other person in a hammer, and tomorrow you'll be on a border, and there is no negotiation about it. So women should prepare space that's comfortable for everybody, for every woman. And also now there is a discussion about the boy child, and which I'm also up in arms for it. I'm a mother of boys, so I also feel like as we empower women, we should also empower boys. And in the economic field, women should pull each other up and also create an environment that makes it comfortable for other women to climb in all ways. I have heard about other women now beginning to say, pull out the 1.5% at university, and I'm saying, oh, has the natural factor that had made that
been eradicated.
Has it been eradicated? Will it ever be? So basically, women should work in partnership with fellow women, and also put themselves in places of such women who are suffering down there.
Well, pick out and take homes from this discussion as we look towards Women's Day in the 8th March. Of course, one is that a woman, carry your fellow woman along with you through this economic empowerment advocacy. And then two, the boy child is equally part of this journey and part of this change that we want to see. So let's not say that the men. No, it's collectively we. Gender is both. And so if we're talking about gender equality, it requires both parties to actively participate in this advocacy for economic empowerment. Well, that brings us to the end of our Kickstarter. Thank you so much for being with us. We're taking a short breather. We're going to be returning with our Tech Note. Do stay with us.